wildfires continue burning out of control. Today, they're pushing a blanket of smog towards Indianapolis. Experts say poor air conditions are posing health risks for millions of Americans. Right now, we're going to bring in Dr. Josh Helman, air quality expert and MD board member of Atmofizer. Doctor, first of all, let me ask you this. How dangerous would you say the effects of the wildfire smoke is?
Yeah, so I think the smoke is very dangerous from the wildfires. Specifically, it's 10 times as dangerous as normal pollution in the air. And the reason for that...
And who's most vulnerable? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. What's the reason for that?
The reason are these extremely small particles, smaller than the width of a hair, and these particles can go through, you breathe them into the lungs, and they can go from the lungs into the bloodstream, and then into the blood, into your brain, into your liver, your kidneys, your heart, other organs. The people who are most vulnerable to those are going to be the young and the old and those with chronic conditions, but obviously this can be deleterious or harmful to anyone. So if you are in an area with poor air quality right now, I strongly urge you to go indoors.
So this does not sound like hyperbole at all. It sounds very serious. I mean, how can they prepare, especially the people who you say are most vulnerable, how can they prepare themselves for the next time something like this happens?
Yeah, so again, for the next time, I would make sure that you basically have a good home air filtration system, whether that's a HEPA filter or there's actually new technology now that can take, using sound waves, can take these ultra small particles and make them bigger so they're less dangerous and easier to remove from the filter. And in disclosure, I'm a board member of Atmofizer that's using this new technology that uses sound waves to basically, it's a snowball effect. It takes these very small particles and pushes them all together with the sound waves to make them bigger so that they can be removed. I actually, this is what the unit looks like. So, but I recommend this in addition to HEPA filters.
Yeah, and it looks, so you said that Atmofizer, you guys developed that, and it seems like it's very well done, obviously, but I do have to mention, especially people who are very much affected by this, a lot of people don't have $300 to spend on such a fancy machine. What can they do?
Or even a HEPA filter that's even more expensive. So N95 masks are helpful, but taking showers, but you raise a good point. There is indoor air pollution that is a silent, I would say silent killer. I mean, it slowly ages us, and it can have over time, because we're exposed to it over time, it can have just as much impact as a brief 10-minute or hour exposure to extremely high air pollution that you've seen in Europe over the last few days.
So now I'm going to stick with that point you just made. So how do you know if you have, what would cause your indoor quality of the air in your home to be that detrimental to your health? What would cause that?
Yeah, so there's so many different things. So there's off-gassing. If you've recently painted or had new flooring or even new clothes, you can have off-gassing from those materials. Unfortunately, I see from patients that there's mold that can grow behind walls that you can't see. So if you're worried about these things, I recommend that you hire an objective air expert who can go in and actually measure the air quality in your house.
Meanwhile, does that machine by Atmofizer, will that help for those who can afford it? Would that help with that?
100%, yeah. It's amazing that it doesn't have a filter that you have to change. It's sound waves that take the very small particles and make them bigger so that the UV light within the unit can actually zap them and remove them.
And lastly, I have to go, but those sound waves won't affect our pets though, right?
No, they're safe for pets and humans. Fortunately, you can't hear these. Great questions. Thanks, Dr.
Okay.